The second visit of the year to Lydden Hill in Kent for the Toyo Tyres Motorsport UK British Rallycross Championship. And it could not be tighter between Julian Godfrey and Derek Tohill. They're tied on points. They both had 2 wins apiece. Last time out, we were on a slippery Pembrey circuit. Derek Tohill was the man to beat on the second day of the action, managing to get ahead of Ollie O'Donovan and Julian Godfrey. The triple Irish champion in unstoppable form. And so, after 4 rounds of the championship, Julian Godfrey, Derek Tohill tied on points ahead of Steve Hill, who was in Ollie O'Donovan's Ford Focus at Pembrey. O'Donovan is 4th.
The second half of the season gets underway today, and you come here joint leading the points with Julian Godfrey. What's your strategy?
Yeah, go like stink. This is one of my favourite tracks in the world, and the track is looking mighty good this morning, so really looking forward to getting out in the heats. And it's pretty hot out there today, so yeah, keep her cool, I suppose, would be the strategy.
Jack Thorne, a familiar face to the British Rallycross Championship. You've won the Super 1600 title before. You've also dappled in Supercar, but you're back now for a new appearance in an OMC Fiesta. What's the story there?
We've bought the car again last Sunday. We was here testing to map it on Saturday to the new fuel. Mapped it, went well. Supercar was a challenge we took on in 2016, and unfortunately we was defeated by it. So we're back with a vengeance really, and took the bull by the horns, and we're back to beat it this time.
You got a good haul of points in the doubleheader at Pembrey last time out. What are your hopes for today?
Hopefully just get some more good points. Really just got to stay very close to Derek the whole time, just to see what he's doing, because he's the main competitor this year. We're level points at the moment, and I've got to really try and finish in front of him. That's the main object of the day, and try and get some good points.
Q1 about to get underway then. Julian Godfrey lining up alongside Steve Mundy. There's Ollie Bennett making a welcome return to British Rallycross. Steve Hill back in his Mitsubishi alongside as the lights go green. And the best start is made just by Bennett. He will go for the Joker lap, the normal lap served by Julian Godfrey. And you're on board with Steve Hill in a car that goes well around here. It's Mitsubishi friendly. Had that very successful outing in Ollie O'Donovan's equipment at Pembrey as across the loose surface. Bounces Ollie Bennett. Going great guns in the World Championship these days. He started, of course, in British Rallycross, and it's great to have him back here at Lydden today. So Julian Godfrey, championship leader, 5 times a British champion, leads through the hairpin at the top of Hairy Hill. Steve Mundy chasing on behind him, and then Bennett and Hill. They've done the Joker lap. Now they can push to the very end of the race. On board with Hill. Down to paddock, brake, throw the car in, slide across the loose. Gone to the left is the old Mabs bank that used to catch out the unwary, so it gives you a little bit more room, a bit more freedom to throw the car through that right-left sequence. There is Mundy, under attack, Bennett closing and closing fast. He's going to get the slingshot as they come back towards tarmac, and through he goes. Ollie Bennett moves himself up into second place in the road, and of course the better of the two that have served the Joker. Powering uphill, he's trying to bring down that gap to Julian Godfrey so that he can be ahead when Godfrey jokers. There is Bennett. Down the hill he goes, immaculate looking Fiesta, and he's hustling on behind Julian Godfrey, the race prep ace. Fight for third now, Mundy versus Steve Hill. There's the Mitsubishi in 4th spot. Steve has jokered as well, and he's inching up onto the back now of that Fiesta ahead through the chicane. 4th gear, down to 3rd as he hits the loose at Cheston's Drift. To the Joker goes Mundy. So there is Julian Godfrey, the race leader. Now, clear road ahead. Has he got enough in hand to be able to hang on to the race lead when he serves the Joker as Steve Hill goes through the Devil's Elbow? That's Bennett up the hill here. Throws the car through the hairpin, trying to maintain the momentum all the time. Keep up the revs, keep up the speed, and then darts downhill, heading to paddock now. Squeal of tyres as he goes from the tarmac over the loose. Bennett, who came from club rallying into Rallycross and was an instant success story. One of the drivers fighting for the championship, indeed, in his debut season. Across the loose he bounces now, up alongside Julian Godfrey, elbows out, and he takes the lead. Ollie Bennett goes through on the Joker. Bennett has the advantage into the Devil's Elbow. Excellent move, he's gone through. It was pretty uncompromising, but Ollie Bennett it is who takes up the advantage now. Through the hairpin, Julian Godfrey is crawling all over the back of Bennett. Is he going to be able now to have a go against him? Down the hill they come, across the loose. Checkered flag is waved. Ollie Bennett wins The first race of the day for the supercars. Second across the line, Julian Godfrey, and that is Steve Hill up the curb, finishing ahead of Steve Mundy. Steve Mundy on target then for 4th place, but a great drive by Ollie Bennett, and he's thrown down a marker here. He means business at Lydden today. Race 2 in Q1, Simon Horton on pole position, Jack Thorne, Roger Thomas, Derek Turhill, and then Andy Grant as the lights go to green, and a good start by Jack Thorne returning to supercars. He was fastest in practice this morning, his first supercar event in 3 years, and he will lead through Chestons for the first time. This Oldsberg's MSE car in the lead of the race, as Simon Horton there goes through in 3rd in the Subaru. Roger Thomas in the M Sport built Fiesta goes 2nd then as they turn through Devil's Elbow for the first time. And so the two that have jokered, Derek Turhill and Andy Grant, some way back, but they'll make up that time, of course, as others serve the joker lap. Jack Thorne sideways out of the hairpin. Ollie O'Donovan, incidentally, missing this weekend, but even so, it's a great entry of supercars and it's looking very competitive indeed. Jack Thorne going nicely. Roger Thomas there getting quicker all the time as Thorne gets way sideways, way out wide, going through paddock onto the tarmac now. Into Chestons Drift. So Jack Thorne in this very understated looking Fiesta accelerates his way now back towards the tarmac, up through the gears. Roger Thomas chases on behind as they hit the brakes, go left into the Devil's Elbow here. Jack Thorne on the limit, using all of the road. Powers up the hill, stands on the anchor, sets the car up then for the right-hander of the hairpin, gets it sideways so he can bring the back round, shoot down the hill, and Roger Thomas is doing his best to stay with him, but at the moment he is not really being able to stay near enough to mount an attack. Jack Thorne using a lot more of the width of the road there as he comes across the loose. We've seen him winning in Super Nationals, we've seen him winning in Super 1600s, and it's unfinished business really as far as supercars is concerned. Bit of rear damage, that is Simon Horton in the Subaru. It's good to have him back in the championship, but the Impreza looking a bit dog-eared as he comes then now down the hill. That's Derek Turhill, and he on the joker is the new race leader. Look, behind him Thomas is ahead of Thorne, so we've had a lot of shuffling on the joker laps. Jack Thorne very wide indeed as he heads up the hill. Now, has he got a problem? Because not only has he lost the lead to Turhill, he's lost another place to Thomas, and he's lost ground to the Welsh driver as well. Derek Turhill then now looking to try to go quicker than 2 minutes 57.7, which would mean he is faster than Ollie Bennett. Thorne again is sideways as he hurls the car across the loose. So Derek Turhill looking strong. Way up the curb goes Jack Thorne. That's Thomas. He's second. He's staying ahead of Thorne. Kicks up the dust across the loose section at Chestons Drift as now downhill comes Simon Horton. The Impreza struggling for pace, it seems, against the full-blown supercars. But there is Derek Turhill, who is set to win the race. But is he going to be able to go fastest here? Let's see. Down the hill he comes, clock ticking away. Ollie Bennett's winning time, 2 minutes 57.760. And as he hits the loose, Derek Turhill looks like he's going to be just about on par with that. There's the flag. He will break the timing beam in 2:57.1. Turhill quickest in Q1. So Derek Turhill outpaces Ollie Bennett and Julian Godfrey. Roger Thomas fourth ahead of Steve Hill, with Jack Thorne sixth from Andy Grant and Steve Mundy.
Ollie Bennett back for another one-off appearance in the British Rallycross Championship. You've had a really strong form of late in the World Championship. You're improving all the time. How does it feel to be back in the Fiesta where you started your career?
It's great. I mean, obviously I started my first race in it. First track I done 4 laps in a supercar. So great to be back. It's a sick, nice sunny day, so I'm enjoying it. It's really just some seat time. We got Lowiak next week, so it's good to be in the car, get in the groove and just get seat time really.
And you're throwing it around with a vengeance. It looks like you're having a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's the quickest for the lap times, but it looks great, and we've still managed to finish P1 and Q1, so yeah, I'll tidy it up if I need to.
Q2 set to get underway. Jack Thorne on pole as the lights go to green. He makes a demon start, and Jack Thorne should be able to outpace the opposition here, given how well he went in practice. Simon Horton is the man that goes for the joker lap straight away from the outside of the grid, gets that done. Andy Grant goes toe-to-toe with Steve Mundy, the venerable Ford Focus, the ex-Will Gollop Andrew Jordan car, just ahead of Mundy's Fiesta as they now go through the left of the Devil's Elbow and make the climb up the hill. Together they run, and Andy Grant is just going to be able to hang on to the inside line. The garage owner then turns through the corner and now unleashes the Focus downhill. Steve Mundy dropping back just a little, but as far as the leader is concerned, Jack Thorne, now the job is to get on with this and try and not just win the race, but also win it in the fastest possible time. He's not having to battle, he's not having to defend, so he can drive his lines, drive his race, and try and beat the clock, as it were here. See where he can go in terms of the standings after Q2. Across the loose he blasts now, down towards the Devil's Elbow. Flicks the car in. Don't forget, he's learning about it all the time. He knows Lydden, but he's still adapting to this supercar. He's not been in one, give or take a test day, for 3 years. Steve Mundy then, running well. But the older Fiesta nowhere near as quick, seemingly, as this car. Jack Thorne's well sorted. Olsberg's MSE entry comes down now into paddock, the ex-Olsberg's car, run by his own team, and you can see where he is in relation to the opposition. He comes through the chicane there, down towards paddock goes Grant, goes Simon Horton behind him, but Jack Thorne storming away up front. Out of the chicane comes Grant then. He goes onto the loose at Chestnut's Drift. It's a lot faster down there than it used to be. It used to be very chalky, very slippery indeed. And there Jack Thorne powers his way uphill. He's heading for a race win, but the real fascination in this is going to be to see what the time is and where that will put him in relation to the opposition. Anonymous really, apart from the championship decals. Down the hill it comes, onto the loose section. Jack Thorne is going to win the race in very comfortable style, but what is the time going to be? Out of the chicane, now up the curb, over the timing line, and the time is 2 minutes 58.392. That's what the opposition will face in the next race in Q2. A championship that always delivers great racing is the Motorsport UK Junior Rallycross Championship. And here at Lydden, Ben Sayer is the man that's been fastest in Q1, Q2 and Q3. He starts as the man to beat in the finals. This promises to be a very interesting race. Ben Sayer, who's had no podium finishes yet this year, alongside Patrick O'Donovan, who's yet to score a win, and Robert Svitals, who has been victorious. Then Tom Ovenden, Alfie Porter, row 2, Harry Garman, Luke Constantine, Archie Thomas on row 3 as the lights go to green and the teenagers blast away. On board with Patrick O'Donovan as he goes up through the gears. He will go for the standard lap as Robert Svitals, who we've also seen in the Rallycross Academy and Rallycross Nordic this year, as well as the Latvian Championship. He will go to the Joker. Here they come then, across the loose. Local man Tom Ovenden, one to watch. Harry Garman, you'll see in number 75, having his debut, former Carter, and he was 14 only 2 days ago. Ben Sayer and Patrick O'Donovan together being cheered on, and Ben Sayer loses out slightly on the outside line, but he's got the inside for the hairpin, and he goes back through on the inside. O'Donovan then has to give way, but looks for the tighter line coming out of the hairpin, gets across the road, and now lines up to make the attack on the run down to paddock. Fantastic stuff this between them. Sayer using all of the curb on the outside, but that puts him onto the wrong part of the circuit. O'Donovan goes through, fighting the understeer across the loose. They're all in identical Suzuki Swifts, remember, and the leader is now Patrick O'Donovan. Dad, a former British champion in the supercars, and now Patrick O'Donovan, who has been very consistent, even though he has not been a race winner this year, leads the way from Ben Sayer, who started on pole but has yet to even get on the podium. So both of them are hugely determined here to try to score a victory. Through the Devil's Elbow they come. Now the run up the hill, absolutely as one here. Sayer trying to force a mistake out of O'Donovan. Where can he make the move? Let's see. Under braking, he closes up and he locks up. There, getting a little bit closer to them, look, is Archie Thomas. Dad Roger out in the supercars within the MSUK British Championship. And Ben Sayer hits the loose surface once more. O'Donovan stabbing on off the brakes, goes through the chicane. And Sayer looking a little bit nearer as they hit the tarmac. He goes for the Joker. Maintains the momentum, but it's a longer, slower line. So he will come back onto the standard lap, further adrift of O'Donovan, hoping, though, that when O'Donovan jokers, he'll be able to get ahead. Now they're going through. Tom Ovenden, you've also got Robert Svitals, who jokered early, and Sayer seemingly is going to stay ahead of him. 107 going through, Luke Constantine. Now where is Svitals? Where is Ovenden in all of this? Svitals is ahead of Ovenden, which means, therefore, that Svitals in the first of the two red cars is also the best of those that has jokered, and he will be ahead of Ben Sayer there, look, as they come up towards the hairpin. Up the inside of Constantine goes Tom Ovenden, trying to force the issue. He was on the second row of the grid, leans on Constantine as they head down the hill. Constantine, double winner this year. He won at Silverstone, he won here earlier on in the year at Lydden as well, and there's a bit of leaning going on. Constantine, though, being forced down the order. He gets into the side of Harry Garman. Onto the loose they go. Garman showing good pace here. He may be new to Rallycross, but he's not afraid to stick out his elbows. Get stuck in, is he? So there they are across the Dover slope once again as the race leaders work their way up the hill now. Patrick O'Donovan trying to build this gap in order to make sure that he's able to maintain the lead when he jokers. In 2.62 going through is Alfie Porter. Battle on here, Roberts Vitals versus Ben Sayer, but because they're now squabbling, they're delaying each other, and that's enabling O'Donovan to get away. It's a 6-lap race. Across the loose they bounce, onto tarmac once more. And there, look, you've got the yellow car in the hands of Patrick O'Donovan, heading across the loose section once more. Now the gap that he's built up is 3 seconds over Roberts Vitals. 107 going through is Luke Constantine, and he seemingly is not going to score well in this race, which is not great news for the championship. He does lead the championship, but is he going to hang on to the gap come the end of the race, or could indeed he lose the championship lead? Ben Sayer now to the outside of Roberts Vitals. He's ahead, but he can't get across and cover off the move. Both go deep and wide through the hairpin. Ben Sayer being cheered on. There's contact between the two of them. Vitals on the inside goes through, and Ben Sayer from pole is now down to third in the race. There's O'Donovan onto the last lap, goes Joker. Has he done enough? Has he got enough in hand to still lead when he comes back onto the circuit? And that's Vitals in strife. The hatch is open, he's got an air brake, so Ben Sayer will go back ahead of him seemingly, and into the lead of the race. Ben Sayer goes through on the Joker. O'Donovan loses out, so Ben Sayer's energies in this race look like they're going to be rewarded, or are they? O'Donovan dives up the inside, clatters away by, and he goes through, but he goes wide. Ben Sayer comes back at him. Yellow livery for O'Donovan, white for Sayer. Neither of them have had a win, and there's really only 2 corners to go. This is O'Donovan's view, down a gear. He's on the inside, he's got the lead. Ovenden's on the inside, and Sayer hung out to dry. Suddenly it is 5 for the race lead, and O'Donovan is in front when it counts. Ben Sayer is back into second place, but Patrick O'Donovan is going to be on target for a first win in the Junior Championship, but only just. It's O'Donovan, Sayer, Ovenden as they cross the line. What a race, what a great advert for Junior Rallycross. Patrick O'Donovan wins for the first time this year from Ben Sayer. Tom Ovenden third ahead of Luke Constantine. And in the championship, we've got a new leader by 1 point. Patrick O'Donovan now goes ahead of Luke Constantine with Roberts Vitals in third.
It's really special to score my first victory at the home of Rallycross. I've had a really close day today. We've had a lot of battles. I've been consistently second throughout the heats, and so I just went for the gap and it paid off. So I'm really happy about that.
The final coming up for the Motorsport UK Super National Rallycross Championship. Tristan Ovenden is the man on pole position. He's unbeaten this year. He's got Paul Coney and the Irishman Peter McGarry for company. Dave Ellis and Guy Corner on the second row ahead of Darren Scott, Craig Lomax and Paige Bellaby, but missing is Guy Corner. Missing too seemingly is Bellaby as the lights change. A demon start by Ovenden at his home circuit, and Peter McGarry with the Vauxhall VX220 that he's brought to the British Championship for the first time goes after him. Paul Coney, the best of those in Super 1600. We've lost Paige Bellaby and also Guy Corner with broken drive shafts, I understand, after the semi-finals. Big disappointment. Now there is Paul Coney, and already Darren Scott, the man from Sittingbourne, is right up behind him. Scott at his home circuit in the Citroën tries to get ahead of the Corsa out of the hairpin, while Tristan Ovenden's perfectly sorted V6 Clio storms away in this 2-wheel drive race. Peter McGarry goes after him. These are the top Super 1600 drivers heading across the loose. Ovenden it is who leads, unbeaten this year. It's actually been a weird day for him because he's had lots of little niggling dramas across the heats, but right now it's all coming good for him. There is Peter McGarry. When he's not racing, he's Derek Tehill's spotter. We saw him at Silverstone at the start of the season. and it's good to have him back here and going nicely in the Vauxhall. Shame he's not been out for more of the season. But here's the real fight. It's third in the race, and it's for the lead of Super 1600. Paul Coney is just ahead of Darren Scott as they make the run up the hill here. Through the hairpin goes the Vauxhall, but Darren Scott shadowing Paul Coney's every move, and he lines up to have a go on the inside line, heading downhill here. Is he going to be able to squeeze through? This is for Super 1600 lead. Yes, Darren Scott does go through. In fairness to Coney, he gave him racing room, but through goes Darren Scott, rides the curb and heads to the loose section as the new class leader. There you've got Craig Lomax, championship leader in Super 1600, coming here this weekend, but not matching their pace in the race. Hurling the car across that loose surface. But Peter McGarry running now in the Vauxhall, second in the race. Is he being caught, I wonder, by the Super 1600 of Darren Scott, who ahead of Coney is getting away a little bit. There is Dave Ellis with his Suzuki Swift. Started on the second row of the grid for this final, so it's going nicely. McGarry looking as though second place is going to be his. And there Paul Coney struggling now to get back onto terms with Darren Scott, so can't see him getting ahead here. Clambering up the curb there, look goes Scott. He will now go for the Joker. He goes deep into the race circuit version, if you like, of Chessons, but then halfway around it, he changed down, he turned sharp right, then left through the man-made chicane, over the little jump and back onto the loose surface. He stays ahead of Darren Scott, so stays ahead of Craig Lomax, I should say. Darren Scott stays ahead of Lomax, so now can Scott do anything about getting his class advantage back when Coney serves the Joker? Craig Lomax's view here, heading up the hill. Understeer for Scott. Lomax a little nearer to him, but that's really a legacy of the Joker rather than pace. Tristan Ovenden blasts into Chessons Drift. The car just loves Lydden. It's a long lap relative to some. It's where it can stretch its legs. And immaculately presented as ever, it's heading for a win, seemingly. Peter McGarry is second after the Joker, and there, Darren Scott back ahead into the lead of Super 1600. The pace is good, and so Darren Scott gets back ahead of Paul Coney on the Joker lap and looks as though he's going to be on target here for a class win. Into the hairpin now. The Super 1600s not looking as though they're going to be able to do much about the Super National machinery. Last lap for Tristan Ovenden. This is going to be 5 out of 5 in just so far the ultimate season, the perfect run for him. Peter McGarry then onto the loose surface once more, heading for second, and then third Darren Scott looking for a class win. Craig Lomax there is a bit too far back from Paul Coney to realistically attack. So there through is Ovenden, out of the hairpin, and now down the hill he goes. What a season he is enjoying. There is Craig Lomax, wanting the points even if he can't take a win here in Super 1600. Flag at the ready, it's a win for Tristan Ovenden and a win by the proverbial country mile from Peter McGarry, having his best of the season, admittedly a limited season in the UK, but a great run for second ahead of Darren Scott. So Tristan Ovenden wins the Super National final from Peter McGarry, and Darren Scott, the winning Super 1600 driver, third from Paul Coney, fourth. Here at Lydden Hill in Kent, it is Q2 Race 2 in the Toyota's Motorsport UK British Rallycross Championship. A bad start by Roger Thomas, but a really good one by Derek Tohill on the inside and the blue Mitsubishi of Steve Hill on the outside. Julian Godfrey squeezes up the inside, gets his elbows out and goes through, forces the issue as Derek Tohill leads Ollie Bennett across the loose for the first time. Godfrey, Hill and Thomas have all served that Joker lap, the longer lap, and you use that once during the course of every race. There are the leaders then, the two Fiestas up the hill. Derek Tohill, the Triple Irish champion, ahead of relative Rallycross newcomer Ollie Bennett. He's not been racing for anything like as long as Derek Tohill, but he's staying with the Irishman as they come down the hill now. Through the right, across the loose at paddock then, and then through that chicane. They'll climb the curb, back onto tarmac. There is Tohill. And Ollie Bennett goes for the normal lap to the Joker, goes Tohill then. So one lap in the book, And now, in this 4-lap race, he serves the joker. Let's see how much time that is going to lose him relative to Bennett. And indeed, Godfrey, who will go through. Julian Godfrey, who jokered on the first lap, goes ahead of Derek Tohill and is ahead by, 2 lengths as they come down to the Devil's Elbow. Tohill now has got work to do. The championship really morphing into this grudge match between these two hugely successful drivers. 2 wins apiece, tied on points coming here this weekend. It's going to go down to the wire, seemingly at Croft, as Godfrey leads Tohill. The Englishman versus the Irishman as they hit the loose now, once more coming through paddock. Steve Hill pressing on behind, keeping Roger Thomas at bay. So now Godfrey leads the pack. Way up the curb goes Hill, also Roger Thomas, who has a big tank slapper, and he just about catches it as they get down to Cheston's Drift. As there, Derek Tohill goes back onto the Dover slope, back onto tarmac. Turns through the left, makes the run up the hill here. Loads of tar smoke coming off the rears of Roger Thomas's car there as he really flings it through the elbow. Steve Hill stands on the anchors, down to second gear, touches the handbrake to bring the back of the car round. Thomas clambers up the curbs as well in that M Sport built car. Onto his last lap goes Julian Godfrey, and the significance of all of this, as you see Ollie Bennett going down now towards the joker lap, is that Godfrey is clear of Derek Tohill, and I suspect he's going to be able to get ahead of Ollie Bennett as well. Let's see, yep, he's done it, and Tohill goes second. So Julian Godfrey is a comfortable race leader. Tohill fending off Ollie Bennett, but that's the real frustration for those two there. Look, Tohill and Bennett, they just have not been able to match the pace of Godfrey in this. Jack Thorne quickest in the first race at 2 minutes 58.3. Godfrey looking as though he's going to annihilate that. Down the hill he comes then now. He's about to turn into the right at paddock. Checkered flag is ready for him. And so Julian Godfrey is going to win race 2, Q2. Is he going to be quicker than a 2:58.3? Yes, he is. 2 minutes 55.864. Excellent effort. Julian Godfrey, fastest in Q2. So Julian Godfrey quickest in Q2 from Derek Tohill and Ollie Bennett. Jack Thorne 4 from Steve Hill and Roger Thomas, with Andy Grant and Simon Horton 7th and 8th.
Julian, fastest time in Q2, that lifts you just second overall in the intermediate classification so far, but you were quite lucky coming back into the paddock, I hear.
Yeah, just gone back pulled up into the pit area here, and the bottom hose split, silicon hose split, so we're just replacing that now. But yeah, no, I had a good run in that one, no mistakes at all. Little door handling with Steve Hill into the joker lap. We both wanted to go there, and I was on the inside, so come out in front of Derek, who jokered early, and then they had a good gap before Ollie, so I had a fairly good gap by the end of it.
Historically, this circuit suited your car quite well, hasn't it? The slightly longer wheelbase, the fast-flowing nature of the track, it tends to go quite well for you?
Yeah, it's good on the fast corners. It's just rotating, it's always been an issue, but we have widened the track and we've done quite a lot of suspension mods, changed pickup points and all sorts of things, and we're definitely getting there.
Q3 about to get underway here at Lydden. Roger Thomas should be the man to beat in this race. Andy Grant and Simon Horton against him, and it's Grant who makes the best start. The older Ford Focus launches well off the line, and Andy Grant has time to consider normal lap, joker lap. He goes joker to get that out of the way. Across the loose, there is Simon Horton then, who chases Roger Thomas. They will move ahead for the moment of Andy Grant, as there Thomas then flicks the car sideways, heads up the hill, and effectively now he's got the road to himself. Thomas flicks the car through the hairpin and now accelerates down the hill once again. At the moment, he's not really racing against anybody else. He's concerned about the clock to try to make sure he's at the front of the grid for the final. Great enthusiast is Roger Thomas. Not only is his son racing in the Junior Championship, Roger has a Metro 6R4 that he brings out on occasions in retro rallycross. There is Simon Horton's self-developed Subaru Impreza going through, but Thomas then still adapting to this car, getting more and more comfortable with it each time out, presses on. Thomas it is then who leads the way. There, Simon Horton accelerating his way through the Devil's Elbow. And let's see where Roger Thomas, drama for Horton. Is that a tyre that's gone down? He gets all sideways, turns through the Devil's Elbow, and it looked as though suddenly a tyre had gone. The car got all sideways. Yes, he has got a problem. He limps on. Now, maybe not a puncture, but something has hit Simon Horton. The car does not look right. It does look low on one side, though. Yeah, I think it is a tyre. It's the right rear that has gone. And so Simon Horton will try and drag it to the end. but clearly there is a problem. So Horton going through the devil's elbow, suddenly got it all wrong, got it all crossed up, but it was a legacy of a tyre going pop. And so as he drags the car on through the Joker lap now, he is going to lose chunks of time, but it's important that he tries to get to the end. Thomas, in the meantime, on his own, looking dominant. Turns across the loose section now, ready to flick the car up through the chicane and start the last lap of the race. Now, this is the first of the 2 races in Q3, so in terms of a time, he's nothing to gauge himself against. All he can do is nail his foot to the boards and just go as fast as he can. The Welshman then across the loose section at Chestnut's Drift, out of the Joker lap, back to the standard lap, onto tarmac, onto the Dover slope, and there Simon Horton limps on. He's going to get to the end just, but hopefully he's not doing any more damage. In fact, is he going to get to the end? No, he's going to bail. Simon Horton is going to park it then, so Horton is a retirement. We'd lost Steve Mundy from this race as well, sadly, as Horton is a retirement. Mundy we lost even before the grid formed, so down then in the end to just these 2 finishers. And Roger Thomas, a really impressive drive. That wins the race, and the time that he does, 3 minutes and 1 seconds, 3 minutes 1.2, so not a stellar time. We'll see where it puts him in relation to everybody else, as there up towards the checkered flag, Andy Grant, who will be the runner-up. Race 2 in Q3, missing from the grid is Ollie Bennett with an engine problem. Lights go to green. Good start made by Jack Thorne. Not a great start by Towhill, nor by Julian Godfrey. And Jack Thorne cuts across to take the race lead as Steve Hill goes for the Joker lap. Now, does Jack Thorne preserve the advantage? Yes, he does. Really good start, really good run through Chestnut's Drift. There behind him is Julian Godfrey. Derek Towhill is third. And is there a little bit of damage on the front of the Towhill Fiesta? It looks like the front bodywork is a bit droopy on the front right corner. Maybe he's glanced against something or somebody, as Godfrey launches up the inside of Jack Thorne, forces his way through. The door was open for him, and Godfrey, needing no second invitation, comes on by. Godfrey goes through, snatches the advantage, and Thorne, trying to get the advantage back again, is also busy defending from Towhill out of the chicane. But now Julian Godfrey, the race leader, is on his way to try to build the gap. He is doing so as they come across the loose section at Chestnut's Drift, back onto the proper tarmac. It's more like broken tarmac, that loose surface. Much faster, much smoother than ever it used to be. And there, up the hill, comes Godfrey. Then Derek Towhill, having served the Joker, losing ground against them, but he will gain that back on the Joker. The Julian Godfrey and Jack Thorne, they've got to serve that one longer line around the Lydden Hill circuit. And so downhill they plunge. There is Thorne. Certainly one of the most spectacular of the supercar drivers that we've got here today, but is that spectacular driving being translated into pace? To Chestnut's Drift he goes. Now there is Towhill pressing on, but the damage is getting worse. Look, because now front bodywork is missing, the car looking very dog-eared indeed, and the pace is going. Derek Towhill trying to drag the car to the end, but he's in danger of being caught here by Steve Hill. Jack Thorne using all of the road look in the background as he comes out of the hairpin down towards paddock, where, just like the Devil's Elbow, there's a lot more curve on the outside, flat, smoother curve for you to use, and therefore get a little bit more width of road. Onto the last lap and onto the Joker lap goes Julian Godfrey, and Jack Thorne Jokers with him. But Derek Towhill, in theory, should now be able to buy back time, but the car is so hobbled with the damage, I don't think he's going to be able to. Godfrey leads the pack. There is Jack Thorne showing really good pace here. And Julian Godfrey turns his way through the Devil's Elbow. Derek Towhill is a distant third as they head up the hill now. So that damage could well cost the Irish driver dear. Let's see where that's going to put him as far as the classification in Q3 is concerned. Downhill goes Jack Thorne, smoke pouring off the tyres as he accelerates out of the hairpin. And there, Derek Towhill's car looking ever more second-hand. Through the chicane, it's a race win for Julian Godfrey. Jack Thorne is second, and they go 1 and 2 in the standings at the end of Q3. Roger Thomas's time puts him third overall. So Julian Godfrey tops the times in Q3 from Jack Thorne and Roger Thomas. Derek Tohill is 4th ahead of Steve Hill, with Andy Grant the only other driver to set a time.
Roger, a few up and downs today, but ultimately you've got good pace in the car. You must be looking forward to starting from the second row of the final.
Absolutely, yeah. A little bit of a tricky morning, to be honest. Quite a few things have gone wrong. Lack of boost, misfire. Yeah, but yeah, seem to have ironed out all the issues for Q3, and we had a good run. Yeah, happy with that.
So we had one lap to kind of put in a good lap, and probably just pushed a little bit too hard at the bottom of the hill into the right-hander, and I snagged the wall on the inside. It damaged the wishbone, the damper and stuff, but we got it home, which I think gives us second on the grid for the final, which it's all to play for from there.
Tristan, another fantastically dominant performance. This car is incredible around this circuit, and you've really got it dialed, haven't you?
Yeah, we really have, yeah. It's been great when it's been running, but we have had a real hard day. The team have been absolutely incredible today. Warmed it up before practice, good as gold. Come to practice, wouldn't start. Had that issue, and then we've had some issues with the linkage underneath coming off where the tracks hold up a bit. We've had some fuel pressure issues, then it wouldn't start again, and the team have been amazing. It's been fantastic.
Peter McGarry, the first time you've brought your VX220 to the British Rallycross Championship. Teammates with Derek Tohill in supercar. You've had an up and down day, haven't you? But a fantastic result in the final.
Yeah, brilliant day. Started off slow this morning. We had a clutch issue in the first heat. We had an engine change and stuff coming up to the event, and yeah, you can never prepare enough, but yeah, completely went against us in the second lap of the first heat, and we kept plugging away, got through the semis. And front row in the final. Probably could ask for no more than that now coming into Lydden Hill, and especially with the first time we brought this car over here. So yeah, very happy, very happy.
Darren's got a super close fight with Paul Coney in the start of the final there, but a brilliant drive and a great podium in the overall Super National category.
Yeah, I must admit we've had ups and downs today. The cars sort of played up in one stage, and then to be on the back row for the final, I knew it was going to be hard to beat Paul where he was. We always have a good race, me and Paul, without a doubt, and obviously in the end we come overall first in class. So yeah, I'm over the moon with that.
So what does all that do to the championship? Tristan Ovenden is still the man in charge. Craig Lomax second. Now Paige Bellaby drops down to third. The supercars in the Toyo Tyres Motorsport UK British Rallycross Championship have been in fine form today. Ollie Bennett has been a very welcome guest. Dramas have put him out though during the day, but he has taken the battle to Julian Godfrey in the first race of Q1. Q1 though was topped by Derek Tohill. Jack Thorne has been mighty as well, returning to supercars, graduating once more from Super 1600. Tohill quickest in Q1 then, Julian Godfrey the man that was quickest in Q2. The first race being dominated by Jack Thorne. There was no stopping Godfrey, however, in the second race, even getting his elbows out to go ahead of Steve Hill on the Joker lap at the first corner. He outpaced Tohill. And Q3 had an impressive run by Roger Thomas in the slower half's first race. But when we went racing with the quick guys, Jack Thorne put himself ahead, only to lose out on the Joker, and Derek Tohill, with damaged bodywork, fell way back as Godfrey went fastest. So Julian Godfrey, it will be on pole, Derek Tohill with him, and also Jack Thorne on the front row. Roger Thomas and Steve Hill 4th and 5th in the classification.
Pole position leaves you no option really for the first corner. You're definitely going to go for the standard lap. I guess you just want to get your head down Joker late and see if you can come across the line first.
That's it, yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. So, hopefully it goes my way for this weekend. But the car's not been totally happy. It broke the alternator in the last heat, so we just changed that. So hopefully it'll be good for the final.
People who've raced in the British Championship a lot can argue that the second place position on the grid for the final is not actually such a bad place to be. It's arguably the cleaner line, and there's a little dip in the tarmac as well there.
Yeah, absolutely, Hal, you're dead right. And last day we were here for a British Championship, we started second on the grid and we got the win. So very, very little in it in lap times. It's only a couple of tenths, so it's anyone's game.
5th on the grid for the final, that puts you on the outside, and there's the option to go to the Joker there. Is that the more wise move?
I think it just depends what start you get. I mean, if we get a good start, it might go main track. I don't know. We'll see what everybody else does, really. It's one of those decisions you've got to make on the spur of the moment. If you have a fixed plan, it can easily go wrong.
Simon, your second weekend of the British Rallycross Championship this season, how's it been going for you so far?
It's been a mixed day. It's good to be back in it. It's great to be back at Lydden Hill. First time in 2 years I've been here. Had an eventful morning. Had a rub with the barriers in Heat 1. Heat 2 was really good. Heat 3 we had a puncture, but yeah, really good weekend so far.
So now it is time to go racing. Julian Godfrey on pole position. 2 wins have gone his way this year. 2 wins to Derek Tohill, middle of the front row. Jack Thorne's Fiesta on the outside. Roger Thomas and Steve Hill on the second row. Ollie Bennett should be on the third row with Andy Grant and Simon Horton as we get set to go racing. Bennett missing after dramas. Lights go green. Great start by Thorne. Is it good enough? He will go for the standard lap. Steve Hill does go joker from the outside. Thorne is ahead of Godfrey. Tohill gets into the rubbing match with Roger Thomas, and Tohill is all sideways as Godfrey pounces for the race lead. Back to tarmac. Thorne goes sideways. Julian Godfrey is the race leader, and that could be absolutely critical with Tohill with damage already down in 4th place. Electric start by Jack Thorne, but it has not served him well enough. Julian Godfrey is ahead then as they turn round the hairpin here. Downhill for the first time. Turn right onto the loose. Derek Tohill with more battered bodywork flapping in the breeze goes after Roger Thomas, who's getting better and better and better every time he sits in this car. Jack Thorne still the most spectacular, up onto 2 wheels out of the chicane. Tohill now goes for the joker. Through that narrow right-left sequence, then the road opens up a little bit. You jump down back onto Cheston's Drift. He's behind Steve Hill, and Hill, remember, jokered at the first corner. So that means Derek Tohill has lost a place already to Steve Hill, courtesy of the joker lap. Julian Godfrey looking good up front here, maybe for win number 3 of the season. On board with Hill. Next target for him is Andy Grant. Derek Tohill is determined to try to get past him. Now, is he going to be able to make up any of that lost ground? They're all concertinaing down to paddock here. On board with Hill. Derek Tohill, despite the damage, chasing after him. Seemingly it is only bodywork rather than anything sinister like suspension. This time Grant goes for the joker. He's going to lose track position. Hill under attack from Tohill as they come across the loose as one. Has Tohill got the pace then? He's been a winner here. He's been a winner at Pembrey, and he goes now through the left-hander. Wide is Hill, up the inside, coming out of the elbow, the outside for the hairpin goes Tohill. On board with Hill, where's the Fiesta? Is it alongside, is it behind? It's still behind, but Tohill looks for the undercut, coming out of the corner. Can't find a way through there. Steve Hill stands on the brakes. The rear of the car dancing around, he's sideways across the loose. Godfrey goes joker look. Jack Thorne takes over the lead of the race. And there is Godfrey, who is going to be still ahead of the Hill-Tohill battle. And he's ahead of them by some margin as well, look. So now the real question is whether Jack Thorne can get his head down and try and build enough of a gap to hang on to the lead when he jokers. It's going to be a tall order. Is it possible? Let's see. Through the dust, charges Simon Horton. There's the on-the-road leader, Jack Thorne. Behind him is Roger Thomas. And they have yet to joker, and Godfrey's pace looking as though he's going to be able to take the lead of the race without much worry on the joker lap. Started the year, remember, did Julian Godfrey in the Mitsubishi Mirage. He has switched back to his regular all-conquering Fiesta. Thorne, jokers, sideways, scrubbing off speed, losing out. Godfrey goes ahead of him. And what about third? Because Hill and Tohill are closing up on Thomas. Look in the background. Derek Tohill goes ahead of Steve Hill, and he's not that far behind the Welshman either. Julian Godfrey is at the hairpin at the top of Hairy Hill, and it looks as though a win beckons for him as now he accelerates down towards the loose. Jack Thorne, though, is driving really well. Thomas has a problem and goes wide, so Derek Tohill, all of a sudden, he's on the podium. A lap ago, it looked very unpromising. Now he's heading for 3rd spot as he goes through the right. There to the loose section of circuit, Julian Godfrey way out up front. And Steve Hill still working hard as he closes on Roger Thomas. Can he gain one more spot before the end of the race here? He's certainly working hard. He's certainly getting nearer. So Julian Godfrey came here as the joint championship leader. A win would put him as a clear championship leader as Jack Thorne chases after him, and Jack, quickest in practice, continuing to get better and better and better each time out in the car. Downhill he comes now. Sideways, onto the loose at paddock, understeer, oversteer. He's still adapting to this car, but he's adapted really well today. There is the flag for Julian Godfrey to win here at Lydden. Jack Thorne is going to be second and Derek Tohill takes third. Steve Hill fourth, just getting ahead of Roger Thomas at the end. And Andy Grant is going to be the final finisher. Down he comes towards the chicane. Tell you a lie, the penultimate finisher, because Simon Horton Subaru has dropped back behind him. So Grant and Horton will come through for penultimate and last places here at Lydden. So Julian Godfrey wins only by a second from Jack Thorne. Derek Tohill is third, then Steve Hill fourth and Roger Thomas in fifth.
Julian Godfrey, you told me earlier in the day you set your fastest ever lap around Lydden Hill in Q2. A fantastic performance, a great move on Jack Thorne in the final, another victory.
Yeah, no, it went very well. Again, in the 30, I set another faster lap time to another 2/10 off my best time, and the car's going really, really well now. And Jack got a slightly better start, but then he ran a bit wide in Cheshunt, so we touched wheels, bent the steering, so I had about a half-turn steering, driving around a half-turn on the steering wheel, and it's really shaking away. So I took the joker early, just because I drive defensively on the last couple of laps.
This car is a good car, it's proven, so it's just about me learning to drive it. As the day went on, we found time, tried different things as a driver in the car, and some worked, some didn't. But yeah, I think we've got a head around it pretty well for the first event. Never dreamed of coming here and coming second, only 1 second across the finish line behind Julian, which is 5 times British champion, I think. So I chucked everything into them last 2 laps trying to catch, but I think my tyres had gone, or I'd pushed the tyres too far, I think is the better way to put that.
Derek, probably your hardest fought final of the year. That didn't go exactly to plan, did it? But a good result salvaged.
Yeah, it wasn't looking too good with a lap or so to go. I think we were down in 5th or 6th. Yeah, to salvage a podium on a bad day is probably not a bad result. So yeah, it is points on the board and championship is still wide open. So yeah, salvaged something out of what was a tough day.
And as far as the championship is concerned, Julian Godfrey takes back the lead. Derek Tohill is second, Steve Hill third, the absent Ollie O'Donovan is placed fourth. And so, from the sunshine of Lydden, the teams head next to Pembrey. Another visit to South Wales. That's the next stop for the championship.